When we speak, when we argue, when we try to explain ourselves, it's never just about words. What's really on the line is something we call face, our image, our dignity, the way we want to be seen by others. That's what Sultan Toomey introduced in 1985, the face negotiation theory. It's simple, really. The way we handle conflict depends on the culture we grew up in. Some of us are taught to be direct, protecting our own voice, making sure we're heard. Others are taught to choose peace, to keep harmony, to avoid embarrassing someone else. These differences shape how we talk, how we argue, and even how we stay silent. Deng Toomey reminded us that human beings aren't trapped in the role of culture. Rather, we are capable of changing and adapting. What makes this theory powerful is how real it feels. We've all had those moments. Moments where we stayed quiet not because we had nothing to say, but because we didn't want to hurt someone. And we've all spoken up, even when it risked tension. Those choices, silence or honesty, show how much space matters in every connection we build. It's about keeping our dignity while making sure others don't lose theirs either. In every relationship that we have, they're all built on that balance. If we want trust and peace, we need to look beyond our own face and learn to protect the face of others. That is how respect grows. That is how real connection happens. And that is the heart of the face negotiation theory.
Imagine a classroom where everyone is asked to share their opinion about a problem. The teacher first calls the honor student, who gives a very smart answer. Then, a quiet student at the back raises her hand. She doesn't have perfect words, but she shares how the problem affects her family every day. Suddenly, the whole class sees the situation differently, not just through numbers or books, but through real experience. That's what standpoint theory is about. It is a viewpoint or an attitude towards the particular issue from their own perspective. One important thing I learned about standpoint theory is that it teaches us to see the world through the eyes of people who are sometimes unheard. It values the voices of those from lower positions in society, poor, women, or marginalized groups, because their experience reveals truths that those in power might not notice. Another thing is, it reminds us that we all see life differently. Our background, our struggles, and even our daily lives shape how we understand things. And that's actually a strength because it means we can learn from each other. In real life, this simply means listening to others with respect. When we open our ears and hearts to different perspectives, we understand the world in a deeper way. Standpoint theory reminds us that our voice is important. Even if we think no one's paying attention, our experiences can help and inspire others. So don't be afraid to share your story because your standpoint matters.
Have you ever been in a room where you had so much to say, but somehow your voice just didn't fit? Picture a soft-spoken girl in a loud group. Every time she speaks, her words get drowned out. She isn't silent, but she isn't heard. That's the heart of muted group theory, first proposed by Edwin and Shirley Ardiner in 1975 and later refined by Cheris Kramer in 1981. It shows how language and communication system often favors the dominant group, those with power like men, wealthy and influential, while leaving others, like women and minorities, struggling to express their reality in a language not built for them. Let's break it down into four ideas. Dominant and non-dominant groups experience the world differently. Think of the girl in the group. Her quiet way of processing the world is just as real, but it doesn't match the louder, dominant style. It was only the loud ones that get heard. Because dominant groups control communication systems, their worldview become the norm. Other perspectives are filtered or erased. Muted groups must translate their experiences into dominant language. That girl may try to be louder, shorten her thoughts, or copy her friends' styles, editing pieces of herself just to be heard. Lastly, muted groups resist. They try to not stay muted forever. They create alternative forms of communication, like SwordSpeak in the Filipino LGBTQ+ community, an alternative language that declares they exist, they matter, and they will be heard. But beyond these ideas are three important things you need to know about the theory. First, muted does not mean silent. It means having less power to articulate experiences in the system that exists. Second, it reminds us that language is a tool of power, and it is not neutral. It can be used to dominate or to liberate. And third, change begins when we notice who's missing from the conversation and make space for them. And that's muted group theory in action. Seeing the silence, knowing why it exists, and resisting it. So the next time someone's voice gets drowned, ask yourself, is the problem that they're quiet? Or is it that the system is not listening? Because in the end, a muted voice is not a weak voice. It's a voice waiting for the world to finally make room to hear it. And that is muted group theory.
As a communication student, I believe that no man is an island. We are all interconnected by our needs to survive and, well, of course, to communicate. Honestly, without communication, we'd know no peace and the presence of one another. That's why in Communication Accommodation Theory, or CAT, by Professor Howard Giles, first conceived in the year 1971, we aim to adjust ourselves to communicate, however our intentions may be, either to create, to maintain, or break bonds or connections. It's important in a way that allows us to be aware of what is happening around us, how culture and traditions can influence our day to day setting, and how we can use these adjustments in communicating for personal growth or as a community. Now imagine this. Once you're out there, out of these four walls of our academic institutions, and you're creating a career for yourself in the professional world, you're not going to succeed if you just stand there and wait for a miracle to happen. You have to work, and essentially, you have to communicate to yourself, to others, to your seniors, or to your advisors how you want things to happen in your life. You have to set that goal. You aim for it and you do it. Then set another one. Then adjust to it. That's how things could go. Adjusting is a natural thing that we all do, considering we are all social animals. We interact for the sake of knowing, of learning, and we yearn to be perceived and how we can leave a mark in this world. And of course, once again, through and through, with kindness and respect always.